What the industry wants right now is designers who can actually ship. What does it mean to ship? It means take the products that you design and actually get them into code. But how do you ship if you don't know how to code? You're gonna need a way to reach out and touch the actual code base, and preferably to do it in a way that you're already comfortable with, which is design. This is the new workflow for designers. You design something, ship it to code, or you take already established code, pull it down, make changes, and push it back up. So with this in mind, I've been experimenting with this new tool called Builder.io, and it's kind of blowing my mind right now. You can design based off actual code in the code base, push those changes, and then send them back up to be production ready. It's not a prototype, it's not a Figma make, it's not a handoff document, it's the real thing. This is Builder.io, and when you look at it, you might go, oh, okay, I kind of get what's happening here. It's another one of them vibe coding tools. No, it's not that. Well, I mean, it can be that if you want it to, but it's actually so much more. Because sure, you could come up in here and say, hey, I want to import something from Figma. You jump over to Figma, you open up the awesome plugin, Builder.io, you smart export it, you slam it back into the prompt box, tell it what you're trying to build, and it'll go about its AI business and generate that, turning your design into real code. That's cool. That's awesome. But that's not how I'm using it and what I'm most excited about. What I'm most excited about is this blue button right here, connecting to a real repo, a GitHub repo, a Bitbucket repo, a code base. This is, for me, the big differentiator here. And if you're not accustomed to working inside of code bases or repos, you're a designer that's not used to that, don't worry, don't freak out. A code base, a repository, is just a place where all the code for your actual product is stored. I'm here on my GitHub page, and I have a bunch of different repos of projects I've worked on and I'm working on. So I can come in here and say, I want to connect one of these repos that's connected to my GitHub account, maybe my organization's GitHub account, my business, the product itself. I can get invited into that, have access to it, and now I can connect directly to it. All you have to do is select one of these. It'll take you through a bit of a setup process, and boom, you've created a project. And that's what I've actually done here in some of these projects. You can see this one, this course dashboard that I have. That's connected to this actual course dashboard repo. You can see this is real code here. We're talking about real packages, real functions, real code, real, dependencies, everything here inside of this actual code base. Now, for me, these are maybe some concept projects, some personal projects, but this is the standard workflow for major development teams inside of organizations. You're going to work inside of a repository. You're going to manage that repository. You're going to push changes and different things up to that repository and then publish your product or your application to go live from that repository. So when you look down at this project, because I've already connected this to that course dashboard project inside of my GitHub repo, you can see I have a couple of new things going on here. I got a couple of different branches. I can create a new branch, or I can create from a pull request, from a remote branch, create from a prompt. I'm just going to click on this one right here. That's my main branch. And you'll see it's going to bring me now into the actual project. Now, the reason there are multiple branches, again, if you're not used to this whole code base GitHub repository thing, is because we have a main branch. That's the actual single source of truth for the code or the code base. Anytime an engineer wants to change something, add a new feature, change the color of buttons or layout, they're going to create a new branch. It's a clone off of that original branch. So we have A, that's the main branch, and now we have B, a new feature, some sort of change, some sort of visual additions. We're going to make those changes, and then once they're approved, they're going to get merged back into that original branch, therefore updating the project. Well, that's what we get to do. And now it's just happening here inside of Builder.io in a visual format. You can see now that I'm here on Builder.io and it's loaded up my project, I have this entire interface that I've been working on, right? That's the initial load or creation of this project or what's in the repo. And you'll notice I can go over here to the left-hand side. I can see the different branches, assets, the Kanban board, and pull request review. Let's go over to branches really quickly, and you'll see that I have a couple of different branches over here on the left-hand side. I have this initial course dashboard. That's the initial pull requests that happen or branch that we're working on. And then each one that says PR, that's a pull request. That's me pulling down the code and pushing it back up and requesting a change based off of what I wanted to do here, like add stock photos or add a messaging interface. What does this mean? Well, I'm on my main branch right now. That's what we're working. You can see as I click around, nothing's really happening. It's static. We haven't really developed a lot of this interface yet. But when I went to the add stock photos to course cards, click on that, it's going to reload this new branch. I started this new branch so that I could make some changes. Those changes that I wanted to make, I wanted to add some stock photos to the course cards instead of having them be those static placeholder only images. So it's going to reload this branch for me so I could do that work. And then once that work is done, I'm going to push it. I'm going to send it back up to GitHub, just like this. That was the button I clicked on. And now you'll notice when I go back over to GitHub, I can go to pull requests. When I go to pull requests, we'll see I have add stock photos to course cards with fill sizing, or I wanted to add a new inbox messaging interface where I could actually have chats inside of the platform. So it's loading this up and it's matching all of those changes that I wanted to make. You'll notice when we get here, we have some new images that were set. They're a little funky. We need to fix them. That's okay. We could do some more work. Or if I wanted to still click around and go to inbox, it's not there yet because I need to work on the add messaging interface to inbox. Click on that. It's going to load that branch up. That's a different feature that I was working on, designing, implementing. But when I go back over to GitHub, there it is, inbox messaging. I could actually click on this, and this is where your engineer is going to take over. You're going to pull down the main repository. You're going to start a new branch, make some changes to some things, push it back up, and now your engineer gets to take over. This isn't replacing developers or your engineering team. This is you actually clearing out that bottleneck of design to development handoff. You got a great idea, need to make changes to some layout or buttons, you can do it, push it back up, and this is what your developer will see. It will summarize, and this is all done by builder.io. It's telling you, hey, it added a new inbox route. Cool. The problem? Well, it wasn't working. It didn't have a dedicated page, so apparently it made that. And so it created that new page, and here's those key changes. And then the developer can actually edit it inside of Builder or preview it completely. And then when you scroll down, you'll see all of the different commits and things that happen in here. All they have to do is click merge pull request, and this will go back into that main branch. You are now responsible for pushing real code back in front of your engineers that they could just approve and send home, send back into the main build of the project. So now you can click back over here. We're on that messaging interface. I can actually now click to the inbox, and we can see that we're able to click in here and write messages and send those messages. Now we have a real messaging interface that I built. Now, how did I build this? Well, there's a couple of different ways that we as designers can build inside of builder.io. The way that I built this messaging platform was to start prompting it into existence. And let's just do something really quick. Let's act like we're the engineers. And why don't we just merge this pull request, confirm the merge. It's going to send it home. It's going to merge it back into that primary branch that was there. It's no longer a pull request. If we go back to the code, you can see that the code has been updated. And we go back here, you'll notice I no longer have, it tells me that pull request has been merged. I no longer have access to it. Now we as designers have crossed that boundary. We've removed that bottleneck of design to developer handoff. We're now shipping or helping to ship real code. But the question remains, how do we do this inside of builder.io? Well, we would come back into builder.io. We've been in interact mode here in this tab on the top left-hand side, and that's allowed us to use the prototype to actually experience the product. We can move over to code and access any of the files in the code base, but we can jump over to design. And this is where we have lots of different options to actually interact with our design. Let's say we just want to click on something. You'll notice we get this styles subpanel that opens up. This gives us access to layout tools, alignment tools, margin and padding, accessing our design systems if you have those connected, background, typography, even access to CSS properties, which don't freak out because if you don't understand CSS properties, it's just looking at whatever the property is there, like maybe it's the border or border color, or maybe it's the text transform. Jump over to developer.mozilla.org, look for it, and then you can see what it actually looks like if you apply that CSS property or change it. What's great about this is you're just learning a little bit more about front-end development. You're becoming more valuable as a designer that can ship. When we jump back over, we might want to make small changes, right? So if I want to make a bunch of small changes, I'm definitely going to want to make a pull request for this or start a new branch. So let's head over to branches in the left-hand sidebar here, because we do have branches, assets, Kanban board, and pull request review. But let's create a new branch, and we'll just say making some visual changes, something like that, really easy. And we're just going to send it. So it's going to create a new branch for us if it has really specific functionality. Like if I told it change the card style or rework the sidebar, it's going to go about building those changes, leveraging the AI agent right away. But you'll notice that immediately we have a new branch that's been created. What's also really cool is we can click over to Kanban board view, and we can see that we have multiple branches that are currently active. This means that you can work on multiple things at one time. If I want to do something with a sidebar and maybe that's enough of a task, let's create a branch for it. If I want to make changes to all the cards and button styles, maybe that's a separate feature. I'm going to do that in a different branch. Maybe I want to add a whole new interface in the groups navigation item, then that's going to be its own branch. But we can manage all those and see those here in Kanban board view. You'll notice here we already have two that are merged. So we're kind of looking at this like a design and development workflow. Let's go back to branches, visual changes. It's going to ask me some questions. What part of the UI are you updating? What changes do you want to make? And this gets us to another way that we can make changes. Maybe we're tired of this purple color. So we say, change the purple brand color and all of its color tones that are used everywhere to a Facebook blue. Let's prompt that into existence, press go, and now we let the agent do some of that design work for us, which is super nice. We can also create a new branch here, and while that's working, why don't we turn this into plan mode and describe what we want. When the user clicks on group in the left-hand sidebar navigation, it should open up a new route to a new content view that has a grid of cards. Each of those cards represent a group, and each of those cards have an avatar stack, name, and description for the group. Boom. This is going to be a new branch here for the course dashboard. We're going to go in plan mode. Let's say go. So now we're creating yet again another branch. And look, they're both actively working at the same time, which is really, really cool because we can do things in parallel or in tandem. I don't have to prompt something, go walk away and get a cup of coffee, come back and wait. There's multiple agents working, which is super nice. So that's going to go to work. While that works, let's click back over to visual changes. Let's see the blue come to life. Let's see if it works. So, yep, it's reading, it's working, it's updating the TSX colors to Facebook blue. We didn't even give it a hex code. You can see it's already starting to make those changes. Boom, we've changed everything to Facebook blue. Maybe that's the rebrand. If we wanted to get more specific, we can, but we kind of like the look of this. It looks pretty good. We're gonna wait until it's done. Now let's verify that all the purple colors have been replaced. Good, no more purple colors found. Boom, we have updated all of these files and it's just about finished. Now we're done with that. We can send that pull request, send that PR. And again, where's it gonna go? It's gonna go back up to our GitHub repository. Let's go back over to pull requests and we'll wait for it to come in. Yep, we got the confetti splash over here in builder.io. Let's just refresh GitHub and update from the builder.io agent. It's going to update that title here in a second with a little bit more context. Notice when we click on it, now it's updated the title, replace purple brand color with Facebook blue, and it wrote that entire, basically that request, that feature change on all the information here. So it's made that change. That looks super good. Okay, let's go back over to our group cards view, our grid view here, and it's now asking me some questions because we were in plan mode. So why don't we come down and let's do some mock data for testing. The avatar stack, show 3 avatars, then X more. I like that. Review my answers, submit. So plan mode is very helpful if you are creating a more complex flow, complex things, and you want a little bit of human interaction, human approval back and forth with the AI before it goes to work. So now it's come up with that plan, and we can actually read the plan details. It opens up basically like a product requirement document here, which feels really good. Let's implement that plan. This isn't a design prompt and then send a bunch of trash up to your developers, hope they can do something with it workflow. This is a layer that sits on top of your code base that allows you as a designer to actually help ship real products. It makes you way more valuable. It gets you a seat at the table. But let me know down in the comments, what do you think about Builder.io? Are you gonna be using it? Are you interested? How might this alter your workflow as a creative professional, as a designer in your organization? I'm still figuring out how exactly I'm gonna use it, but I can tell you right now, I'm very, very excited about the potential of leveraging a tool like this for my clients, for stakeholders in the companies that I work with. So let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you get notifications when more videos like this one come out. And with that being said, we'll see you in the next one.